Pat Sullivan, the new superintendent for the Cohasset Public Schools District. Prior to serving here, Pat worked at the Marshfield Public Schools District for over 20 years. During that time, he served as principal of the Furnace Brook Middle School for over 5 years. In 2017, he came to Cohasset to work as assistant superintendent for Louise Demas. After she retired, Pat was hired as the new superintendent starting July 1st. Pat, it's a pleasure to have you.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So,
in Cohasset.
Yes, exactly. We're happy to have you. So let's start. Why did you choose to go into education as your career?
Well, it's interesting because I had, right off as a student, I didn't have early success. And I struggled a bit. When I was a young kid, my father actually passed when I was in middle school. And it was through some experiences with teachers who really motivated me that I kind of found my way through that personal crisis. It sort of went in the back of my head as the type of thing I might want to do when I became an adult.
Yeah.
But having that early struggles with education and really not finding my way until really my kind of later in my high school life as a student, it kind of geared me towards helping out kids who are struggling, helping out kids who maybe hadn't found their way, or maybe are going through something that I went through in terms of losing a parent early on. So it motivated me to go into studying education. So the first time I was in front of a classroom, you say you have those moments in your life when you feel like it just fits. It fit. I felt really good there. I won't say like I was the best teacher starting out, like I had all the answers, but it certainly was a moment when I felt connected to the kids. And my career has just sort of fallen in place with that. I've always been driven by a passion to help out students, specifically struggling students, and it's led me to where I am today. So it's really came from just recognizing my own struggles, what people had given me, and wanting to give back to other kids who may be going through the same thing. So it's kind of why I'm here.
Yeah, and you worked at Marshfield for over 20 years.
I did.
How did your time there influence your new position here?
Well, I grew up in Marshfield in every way. So I grew up as a kid in Marshfield. Obviously that's where I was raised, and then as a teacher, I grew as well. So those early experiences as an English teacher, right through to becoming a department head, moving over to middle school where I taught a little bit, and I was also assistant principal, and then a principal. All of those experiences and the growth that I experienced in those particular roles influenced me and helped me be ready for my experience here in Cohasset. And then I also received my doctorate last year, and that whole experience of going through that process, and it was very rigorous, really helped me in not only in just having a stronger base for what I'm going to need for a knowledge base in this job and in my past job, but just in perseverance and trying to get through things, because that was quite a process. But Marshfield is a wonderful town, as is Cohasset, and I think my experience has prepared me, I hope, very well for this position.
Yeah. So what is something that your predecessor did that you want to maintain?
Superintendent Demas. Superintendent Demas did a lot of things. I know when she came in, from what I understand, the district was in kind of a situation where she needed to work to bring people together, to bring a leadership team together. And she did that over the last couple of years I was here. I watched that leadership team come together. I think we need to further that and keep going with it. She built very strong relationships with the school committee, and they were certainly working together well in many ways. And I need to make sure I push that forward. And then, not even just in her role as superintendent, but in her previous role as curriculum director, she helped to really further a strong curriculum base here in Cohasset. So that's something I definitely want to make sure that my person who's coming in was obviously Dr. Sullivans, who's working as assistant superintendent, and I collaborate on to make sure that we push forward. So I think a lot of her legacy lies in what she had done even before superintendent, where she had worked with other district leaders to create a nice curriculum and to further that in our schools. So that's one thing that she brought that I certainly want to continue, as well as the beginning work that she did with the school committee and with the leadership team.
Yeah. And are there any new ideas you have on how to improve the school in any ways?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of new ideas. Part of it is really making sure that we build that feeling of trust, continue it here in Cohasset throughout the community. That I reach out to the community and make sure that we have transparent communication happening from our buildings and from my level, of course. And then building some new and innovative teaching ideas through project-based learning, through some design thinking, really looking at how we can use the community to create some authentic audiences. We did, and what I mean by that is really looking at taking some of the learning and bringing it into the Cohasset community. The Cohasset community is filled with amazing people who are successful in a lot of different ways. So to tap into that passion that they have for their occupations, to bring it here into Cohasset, I think is something we can do very easily and very successfully in a smaller district. And then let's not forget our access to the harbor. We're a special community because we're so centered around our wonderful harbor, and to bring our students to do work with that in mind is something I think we can progress with. And I think I brought, as my role as assistant superintendent, a focus on social emotional learning. And we know now that students who are more socially emotionally prepared to deal with problems, to deal with challenges, succeed better, not only in academics, but they succeed in life. So helping our teachers work within the curriculum to create opportunities for our students to explore the social world around them, to look inward and to explore self-management, and then to look also at creating relationships with others and how you build strong relationships with others. Because we know now that that's an important skill as we move out into the world, is how we work with others in teams, how we collaborate with teams. There's very few jobs now where you're not collaborating on something higher ordered to succeed. And so to provide that for students, I think I've brought that, and I want to progress that going forward. So there's other things too, but those are my major things. And it's always about what's best for students and focusing on helping all students, wherever they may be, reach their potential. And I'm lucky and feel very blessed because I work with such an amazing staff here. One of the things I was struck by when I came in as assistant superintendent is the quality of the teacher. It's really high here in Cohasset, and they really care about the students. So to be able to help energize them, help support them in their endeavors is something I want to make sure I do as well, and get that out there.
Yeah. Now, can you walk us through your day-to-day activities, what you do as superintendent?
Yeah, well, I'm sort of new, so I've only been here. Remember, you got me on like my third week as superintendent, but it's a job that's really never the same every day.
Yeah.
I mean, my goal is to support the school community, to communicate what my goals are, to support the school community, to communicate with the school community, to make sure that our students are getting a top quality education, to make sure that parents know exactly what's happening and know how they can collaborate with us, and that staff is supported by having a rigorous and stable what am I looking for? The word is curriculum. And my day would never be the same. I mean, obviously I'm going to spend a lot of time in the schools, but I'm going to spend a lot of time working with the community, working with students. I'm someone who has always loved working with kids, and I get a lot out of, when we hired our new principal, for instance, at the middle school and at the high school, the students who were involved with giving us information regarding what they were looking for in a principal, and those students who were actually on the panel to hire the new principal at the high school were probably the strongest voices in the room. So to make sure I listen to the student voice and I collaborate with them. So I'll be doing things that involve students. And really just in many ways trying to support every single person in the community here, whether it be a parent, a student, a staff member, or a community member who wants to link and help us. My job is to support them and to make those connections. So my day is is going to be filled with opportunities to do that.
Now, is there anything about the role of superintendent that perhaps you came into it, you didn't expect or you didn't know about that perhaps the public is also unaware of?
Well, if you come back in a few months, I can tell you specifically about that. But just seeing my predecessor and also knowing and working for some great superintendents when I was over at Marshfield, I think it comes down to making sure that as a superintendent that you walk the walk, and that you're not just a figurehead who's sending down ideas, that you're actually working adaptively with your staff and you're listening to the students, and that when you meet with parents and guardians, that you're really talking to them and working with them. I think there's a lot of technical aspects to this job where you have certain things you have to do because the state tells you to do it. And it really, what the success of this job is going to be about my ability to connect with people. And I think if I connect well with people, then that's going to spread throughout the district, and that's going to be a hallmark of this district, is that we really care about individuals, and of course mainly the kids.
Yeah. Now, Cohasset is a very highly rated public school in the state. What is something, or how do you keep that legacy going or even improve it?
Well, so I think that it's a very, and the reputation is well deserved. And I echo again the fact that we have a really strong staff here in Cohasset, and that the teaching quality is very high. So I think the way you do it is to continue to support the teachers in progressing that, and really to help make sure that everything that I have as and my beliefs as a leader that I'm building with my leadership team, that you can see that moving through the district. And really we're going to be tapping into the members of the community to really build what that is. That's how you progress it. So whether there's a when you look at all successful organizations, you look at, well, what is their way? What is the Cohasset way going to be in our public schools? So to build that and to project that so that every person feels that in the community, I think is something I want to do. And I'm still learning about that. I'm still drawing from the stakeholders to make sure that what we project is a common vision. And then, like I said, I think there's the academic piece that we're proud of, but there's also that social emotional piece that in many ways helps kids and when they get out into the real world more than knowing some of the academic facts.
Yeah.
So I think melding them together and making sure that we have our eyes on the whole child is something that I can do to further the district. So I hope that when I'm done long from now, that people say, geez, he really did a good job in connecting with people. I always felt I could talk to him, and that clearly he was interested in helping all kids at where they may be progress forward, and that he was really looking at trying to help a kid become his or her best in every way, not just academics.
Yeah. So for students coming into the system, or even the younger ones, what kind of community do you hope to build for them so that when they come to school, what impressions do they have of the community around them?
Yeah, well, I mean, community starts with first feeling safe. So that's the first thing, that most important job I have is to make sure that we live in and we work in a safe environment. Working with obviously from the level of working with the police to make sure our procedures are in place for that, but also working with our teachers and our staff to make sure that, again, back to that whole child, that they feel socially and emotionally safe to be in our building. When someone feels socially and emotionally safe, then that feeling of trust is built, and then once you have that, and we can continue working on that, then you have a learning community that can flourish, and school should be, I'm going to say the fun word, it should be fun.
Yeah.
It's a great time in kids' lives to learn about themselves, to learn about their strengths, to learn about things they need to work on, and to see good models for that, whether it's through their studies and of course and if it's through their teachers. So to really promote that we want to build that sense of pride. There is a great pride in Cohasset in terms of striving for excellence, but to make sure that every building has that unique feeling of warmth that will help drive kids to be the best they can be. That's something I want to make sure I help create, and that I want the kids to feel that.
Is there anything about this work that brings you a lot of joy?
Yeah, it's when a student succeeds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and those moments when a student, you know, there's a whole there's a lot of focus right now, and that I think is a good thing, on growth mindset, which is the idea of failure can be okay if we learn from it.
Right.
So you know, you have all those adages where if you don't try, and those who put themselves out there and fail often sometimes end up being the most successful folks.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that students know it's okay to take positive risks and to come up short, because when they come up short, they learn from that experience, and that will get them further the next time.
Yeah.
So students who are really trying and maybe haven't succeeded, but are looking at it as sort of a signpost on the way to real growth. When those students achieve, I feel a great sense of pride, and I feel the same way for when I see a teacher who's really excited about a new idea. You know, just meeting all the time with teachers and hearing their interesting and creative ideas about how they can provide a student with an opportunity in a lesson or an opportunity through an internship or whatever it might be. Seeing that look of excitement in a teacher's eyes just really excites me, because I know that's what they're going to deliver to the student.
Yeah.
That's great. And to see parents who come in and are proud of what their students have achieved and say things to me like, the Cohasset Public Schools was great for my son or daughter. They've really helped. This teacher has helped my son or daughter achieve in this way or realize who he or she is. That gives me a great sense of pride.
Yeah.
It's a fun job. I have a high level of energy, and I'm really excited when other people mirror that energy about students, because it means they care.
Yeah. And is there anything about the school system or the teachers that you're most proud of?
So there's yes. I think one of the things I'm most proud of is that the teachers deeply care about the kids, and it's authentic, and you can feel it. There's, you know, you having been in Marshfield for a long time, I was always inspired by the teacher who would go the extra mile to help the kid out. The teacher who would make that lesson so special for the kid that they were going to, you know, if they were asked a question, who inspired you, they're going to say that teacher, because how can you not be inspired by someone who cares that much about a kid? The amount of teachers who give me that feeling in Cohasset is very inspiring. As I walk into classrooms and see these aren't teachers that are just going through motions, these teachers who are really trying to get the best out of the students and really genuinely care about them. That's inspiring to me. So, and that's why that's one of the reasons that I was excited to try for the position of superintendent, is because I knew I'd be working with folks who cared that much about the kids. Because you can't make that up. You really got to feel it.
Yeah.
So
let's get to know you a bit more personally now. So when you're not in the Cohasset public system, outside of the school, what do you enjoy doing just in your life with your family?
Well, so my life when I'm not in the Cohasset school system is my family, and I have four kids under the age of 10. So I'm busy.
Yeah.
So I have my oldest is Cooper. He's moving into 5th grade. I have my next is Liam, who's going into 3rd grade. My daughter Charlotte's moving into 6th grade, and my youngest son Beckett will be in kindergarten, not this year but the year to follow. And we just as if we needed any more chaos in our lives, we just have a new member of our family, an English bulldog named Roland. So that right now, that's kind of my whole life, and I enjoy taking trips with them and my wife Bria. And you know, everything in that I enjoy kind of runs through them, and that's good. That's what I wanted at this point in my life, and that's what I have. We have a real busy, happy house, and you know, then I come here and it's a real big, busy, happy house. So it's kind of there's a parallel there.
Yeah. All right. Well, to conclude, is there any message you want to give to the community?
Oh no, just that I'm very proud and incredibly humbled to be in this position, and I very much look forward to the collaboration moving forward to be the best school system in the state, because I think we're a great one, and I'd love to move us forward.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you.